Welcome to the Indie Beacon Show, where readers can discover great new indie authors. Find us on all major podcast systems and YouTube. Join Mary Ann Fairmont on today's show.
Welcome to the Indie Beacon Show, a division of Authors Marketing International. My name is Mary Ann Fairmouth. I'm a multi-genre author, speaker, and career consultant. And tonight I have the utmost pleasure to visit with a world champion of public speaking, as well as an author that has written an amazing book. I met this gentleman a few years ago at a Toastmasters International contest, and I was so impressed with him. But he's a wonderful author. He's a great writer. He's a great speaker. But the area that really impresses me so much is that his mission is all about empowering others to become their best self. And without further ado, I will introduce Deepak Sharma. Deepak, say hello to everybody.
Hey, hello everyone. Thank you, Marian, for inviting me for this show. I'm very excited to talk to you.
Oh, well, it's wonderful to have you. Now, Deepak, you've written a wonderful book. It's an Amazon bestseller too, Move Mountains, One Story at a Time. Tell us what inspired you to write that book and when it came out.
The one thing that really inspired me, because I have always been very passionate with stories. So I always love stories, but I realized that people listen to stories, read stories, and then forget about it. And then they don't pick up some learning. So I, being a trainer, I used to use a lot of stories into my training programs. So when me and one of my very close friends, one day we were sitting and we thought, why don't we, there are so many stories around us and of real life, of fables, and why don't we collect those stories and then debrief those stories in our book, what area of life they can impact us. And then the thought came to our mind, why 10 stories, 12 stories, or 30 stories? Let's write 52 stories. It means one story every week. So the idea was a person should read one story and then apply the learning from that story in that particular week. So in a way, we don't tell you to finish this book in one go. We say take 1 year, but if the application is not happening of every story, then there is no fun. So the whole idea was to inspire people, to teach people through our stories. And you know what? We have got comments from parents who use these stories for their kids. We have got comments from trainers who use these stories in the training program. And we have got comments from people who are 75 years of age who use these stories to teach their grandkids and families. So this book is for every age.
Well, that's wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful. And, as a national recruiter, as I mentioned to you before, even in interviews, people tell stories about, their accomplishments, or when an interview says, well, why do you think I should hire you? What are you most proud of? And that applicant tells a story about it. It really seems to personify, the situation and make it all the more believable.
Absolutely.
The other thing that I'm so impressed with you about, there's so many areas, is that, you came here a couple years ago. Your English wasn't, you said, as you wanted it to be, but that didn't hold you back. You kept going.
Absolutely.
And I think that shows, that, with perseverance, we can do anything. I think Stephen Covey says it so well when he says, we're not a product of our circumstances. We're a product of our decisions. And I think when you made that decision to become a world-class international speaker, I think you were determined to overcome whatever you had to. Is that right? Tell us about that.
Absolutely. So as you talk about decisions, and me and again, my co-author Mukesh, we believe on this very strongly, that there is nothing called wrong or right decisions. So our idea is take a decision and then get busy in making it right.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the philosophy I have lived upon. And when I took this decision to close, or I would rather say burn all my boats in India and moved to US at the age of 49. Initial months were very difficult, but I took this decision to participate in the contest, the Toastmaster speech contest, as soon as I landed in America. I landed on 3rd of February. My first contest, club contest, was on 8th of February. And then from club, I went to area, to division, and finally I won the district contest. So I am not a world champion as yet. I'm on my way to becoming a world champion, but at the moment, I'm the district champion for District 56 for 2019. So that is these particular things, like take a decision and then get busy in making it right, always helped us. Similarly with the book, the day we took the decision that we are going to write book, we had no idea what to do, how to go about, who will do it, who will publish it. But in the process, we found a publisher, we found people who reviewed our book, we found.
I'm so sorry.
No. We found people who written forward for our book. So everything fallen in place. So the beautiful part is take a decision. And that's what I did with America. I came here and now I'm part of National Speakers Association. I'm part of Toastmasters. I have a lot of friends who are mentoring me, speakers, trainers. I'm enjoying my life now here.
Well, that's wonderful. Well, you know, I'm a big fan of Toastmasters, and Toastmasters International was very instrumental in me really expanding my career and growing. I think the beautiful thing about Toastmasters is that everyone in the clubs wants to become better, whether you want to become a better leader, you want to become a better speaker. And I think for the people listening, for the writers and the authors out there, I think in many ways, Deepak, our books are our calling cards. And then it's what we decide to do with our books. And I think, you know, with your book, you had a unique idea about one story for each week. The story had a poignant message to it. And I think that's wonderful. But I also think that, you know, you were kind of ahead of the game in some ways with what's happened the last 18 months, is that you had some challenges to overcome, personal challenges, and you did. You didn't let them stop you. You went forward. But the other thing that I think is so great is that you helped others do the same thing. You preached and spoke, and, you know, you're a Fortune 500 trainer to many organizations. You helped others really become better. And I think that there's something to be said about that. You know, it's not just about our own glory. It's about how can we help somebody else? And I really think that's wonderful. Was that always your motto, or was that something that you got when you got to Toastmasters, or what? We just got a couple of minutes here, but give us a kind of a brief answer to that question about was that mindset something you always had or something you learned?
No, I think it has come from my dad. My dad used to be in army, and whenever he used to come on leave from army, the whole 2 months leave he used to spend serving the families around our community. And I have seen him every time serving. And I think from there, I believe very strongly that lead self to serve others. And this is what I have seen from him, and I've learned from him, that it is important for us to first build ourselves, to lead ourselves. And then in the process, you get a lot of power to serve the community, serve people around you. I'll give an example. You know, when I became trainer, there was nobody to help me out. I felt the pain. I did everything on my own. But when I became trainer and I was running my own training company, I have never returned any newbie who wanted to become a trainer. I gave them internship in my company, they worked. And then the process, there are a lot of people at this point of time who are running their own training companies who started their career in my training company. So I love it. It's love. I love giving to people, love giving back to the society.
That's wonderful. So in other words, it's not about me, it's about we.
Absolutely.
So let's take a break and let our sponsors do their thing, and we'll come right back.
Marianne Fairmouth is a career consultant with 30 years experience in the national recruiting world, a multi-award-winning author in multi-genres, and a speaker that gives presentations to help you succeed. Her book, Revolutionary Recruiting, made the top 20 global list of recruiting books. Find her on Amazon, your favorite bookstore, or at fairmouth.com.
keen to embrace your children's imagination, check out Diane Floyd Bame's books for kids. There's The Moonling Adventures, all about the animals in the Serengeti. And then there's Harry the Camel, learning to love yourself just the way you are. Then The Little Girl in the Moon. There's one about friendship, another one about the big ideas, which is an inspirational story. And then Tour Tycho Town, right there in Tycho Crater on the moon. All of Diane Floyd Bame's books are available at B4R Store.
Hello, I am the author Denise Bryson. My first book is The Things That Cross My Mind, Inspirational Poetry with Life Lessons. And then my audio book is Love's Reality. And it is also inspirational poetry with a jazzy flair. And then my new book is The Sex, the Lies, and the Soul Ties. They're really short stories written from a poetic expression. And then I have my first children book series, the Blinky series, which the first book is called Meet the Coins, and it is both in English and Spanish. And then the new book From Coins to Bills. I am the author, Denise Bryson.
Welcome to the Indie Beacon Show, where readers can discover great new indie authors. Find us on all major podcast systems and YouTube. Join Mary Ann Fairmont on today's show.
Welcome back to the Indie Beacon Show, a show that is a division of Authors Marketing International. We support authors and writers all over the world. And tonight I am just so privileged and honored to have with us a world-class author and speaker, Deepak Sharma. Deepak has written a wonderful book, an Amazon bestseller, Move Mountains, One Story at a Time. But in the Blue Room, he and I talked before this episode, and I believe you have some other projects on the docket, Deepak, with your writing projects. Tell us about those.
Yes, so recently I have launched my podcast. It's called Your Story, Your Glory. And on the same name, I've already started writing the book that is also called Your Story, Your Glory. So this is one major project that is happening. Then I recently also launched a Speak to Shine Academy, wherein we are helping students, teachers, adults, to help them learning to understand not only speaking, but overall communication. Because speaking is one part of it, but communication is a bigger part of it. Communication not only talk about speaking, it talks about your empathy, your listening skills, your body language, a lot of aspects of communication that we are helping kids and adults so that they can become a better human being and they can deliver their message or communicate their thoughts effectively.
Oh, I think that's wonderful. And I think starting it at an early age is really important. And it's so good because you can be the most accomplished academically. You can have great grades and really understand whatever it is you're studying. But if you can't communicate the information, whether it be to a prospective employer, whether it be to a friend, whether it be, on the big stage, you have to be able to take what you learn and communicate that. And I think you working in the academy with the students is a wonderful, wonderful thing because, you and I have talked about this before. I mean, I can have a candidate that's so skilled and so accomplished, but if they can't go into that interview and present themselves in a way and bond with the interviewer too, but speak correctly, then in most cases, they don't get the job. So I think what you're doing is wonderful. So you've got some other projects on the horizon, and I know you work with Fortune 500 leaders. Tell us a little bit about that. Do you use that book? I mean, when you work with these leaders, how do you integrate your storytelling with these corporate leaders? How does that work?
See, the whole idea is organizations needs to excel. And I use storytelling as a tool to excel these organizations. So most of the organizations that I worked with, for example, whether in India it was Vodafone or Nestle's or Shell, many organizations I worked with, I realized that people start narrating data, talk about information. There is no dearth of data and information in today's world. Even when they are giving presentation to clients, they are showing data and information. What we do is we tell people how to convert your data and information into simple and short stories. Because nobody wants to look at data. Basically, we are trying to marry data with the stories. So in a way, you can say there is truth, which is data, and there is story, which is well told. So we are trying to create well told truth. Yep. So the idea is once they are sharing their information and data using stories, people tend to buy their ideas, their thoughts. It becomes very easy for them to sell. And in today's world, Marianne, everybody is selling. Somebody is selling the skills, somebody is selling the idea, somebody is selling the product. So everybody is selling, and stories help us to sell our thoughts and ideas.
Well, and I agree. And I think with the digital world and AI and so much of automation, I think that, the human element needs to be still present. And I think if we can work with leaders in how to present those ideas and through stories and through really positive communication, I think that's going to circumvent any kind of, challenges. I do think, I heard the other day, an HR person said to me, that we've got all these algorithms on our resumes, and they, have to have keywords, and sometimes if there's a glitch in the algorithm or a glitch in the computer, we get two resumes together, and that's not right. So I think the human element, the speaking ability, the stories are going to become more, I think, important as we become so digitized. Don't you believe that?
In today's world, yes. Because everybody is so hooked to gadgets, so hooked to the systems. And as soon as they hear something which is not like talking about the gadgets, and they always get connected, because stories connect us to a deeper level, which I would say invokes our emotions.
I think you're right. And I heard something beautiful today on Facebook about Colin Powell said, he believes in laptops, but the laptop is, the lap. Put that little baby on the top of your lap, read to them, tell them stories. Okay. So, I mean, we lost a wonderful leader, but I think his wisdom will long live on.
Absolutely.
And I think that's true about, the personal touch, the storytelling. I think that's something that does help us learn. I think we learn even through fairy tales. We learn as children through stories. So I think just, expanding that concept, which I think is real important, and that's great.
And Marianne, if you don't know, Colin was a Hall of the Fame speaker at NSA.
He was?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah, he was given Hall of Fame many years back. Today, somebody posted that video on the LinkedIn.
Is that right? Well, I've attended 2 or 3 of the big NSA conferences, and I have to say, I learned so much. I was in Baltimore, I was in Philadelphia, and the level of speakers there is amazing, but they're also, real and down to earth, and share their struggles and their successes. Absolutely. And that's another thing I think is so admirable about you, is that, we talked about this too in the Blue Room, about failure. Failure, is not all that bad. I mean, J.K. Rowling gave an address to Harvard, to the graduating class of Harvard a few years ago, about the benefits of failure. And people looked at her like, we're at Harvard. Why are you talking to us about failure? But it's the truth. I think the struggles that we overcome, the challenges that we overcome, make us become who we are. Don't you agree with that?
Absolutely. And I always say that the 4 F's of your growth are failure, frustrations, flaws, and your firsts.
Mm-hmm.
You have to double your failure rate. You have to learn from your frustrations. You have to look at your flaws and work on them, and keep doing first, means keep doing something new every day, so that you are growing every day. So I always ask myself this question before I go to sleep: when was the last time I did something for the first time? So that if the answer comes to me today, I'm growing. If the answer comes to me 3 days back, I'm still growing. But if the answer comes to me, I don't even remember, maybe 1 month back, it means somewhere I'm getting stagnant.
Well, we only have a couple minutes here, or a minute and a half, but I remember the first time I met you on the big stage of District 56, and I saw you win that championship, which was, the competition was fierce, but your message was so powerful, but yet it was so real, and there was so much sincerity and warmth. And I think that's another thing as speakers that is important.
Publishing marketing package for authors. $1,500 value, save 40% now. Includes a 6-piece marketing kit of 250 bookmarks, 250 business cards, 250 postcards, 1 table banner, 1 table runner, and 50 download cards, plus book cover design, ebook creation, PDF setups, upload to Ingram Spark, scroll placement, video commercial, and interview on IBS, plus much more. Email bourgeoismedia@look.com for details or bourgeoismedia.com.
Hi, I'm Mel Greenberg, author of Running with Our Eyes Closed, book 1 in the Empty Nested series. To the world, Samantha has the perfect life. 3 wonderful children, a loving husband, so she thought, and a life split between Dallas and Italy. When her youngest leaves for college, it all comes crashing down, forcing Samantha to re-examine everything. Over 7 days in one of the most romantic countries in the world, Samantha faces the past she thought she'd overcome and begins to redefine her role as a woman, a wife, and a mother.
What would you do if you had to put your life on hold to care for a loved one? Well, during COVID, almost all of us have been doing just that. I'm Charlotte Canyon, award-winning author, actress, and speaker. And my book, You Have to Laugh to Keep from Crying, shows you how you can revive, thrive, and survive with 4 golden rules. You have to love one another. You have to respect one another. You have to have patience with one another. And most of all, you've got to forgive one another. I'm Charlotte Canyon, and I approve this message.
Welcome to the Indie Beacon Show, where readers can discover great new indie authors. Find us on all major podcast systems and YouTube. Join Mary Ann Fairmont on today's show.
Welcome back to the Indie Beacon Show, a division of Authors Marketing International, an organization that supports authors and writers all over the world. My name is Mary Ann Fairmouth. I'm a multi-genre author, speaker, and career coach, and I'm delighted to have with us on this episode Deepak Sharma, a world-class international speaker, an author that has an Amazon bestseller, Moving Mountains, One Story at a Time. And Deepak, you've done so much in the short time you've been here in the States. You've worked with so many different kinds of people. You have an academy for young children. You work with Fortune 500 leaders. You work with people in our clubs that are trying to become their best self. If someone out there, whether they're a corporate individual who wants to train their staff to become better leaders, or it's an individual that's really terrified of that next interview, how can they get a hold of you, Deepak?
So very simple. I have my email address, deepak@deepaksharmaspeaks.com. And very soon, this month, my website will be up, deepaksharmaspeaks.com. I have another website that will be up in the next 6 days of my podcast, yourstoryyourglory.com. And then I have my YouTube channel, Deepak Sharma Speaks. You can follow me on Instagram, Deepak Sharma Speaks. So I am everywhere on all the social platforms by the name Deepak Sharma Speaks.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, I know you and I are in a club together, the Pathway of Professional Speakers, which is the advanced club for professional speakers. And I'm so grateful that I'm in a club with someone as advanced as you are. And I know I gave a speech the other day, and you gave some wonderful tips. And I think that's the other beauty of Toastmasters, is that everybody's willing to help everybody else. And I just can't say enough good things about it. So you've got another project on the horizon. You certainly help people speak in all different areas, ages and communities and things like that. If there was one thing or 2 things, I'll give you 2 things that you could tell our listeners out there, that if they're on the fence about becoming an author or writing or speaking, Deepak, what would you tell them? Two good points.
I think one thing is very important, that whatever you want to do, be you want to become an author or a speaker or anything in life you want to do, never take it easy. Rather, definitely get a person who can guide you on the direction. Because I played with something for many months, but the day I got the coach, I started progressing. I started getting direction. There is a saying, time into effort, into direction is very important. Time and effort is important, but if the time and effort is putting in the wrong direction, you are not reaching where you want to reach. And the second thing is momentum. So whether you are in a Toastmasters club, whether you are writing a book, whether you are want to speak, create a momentum. Even if you want to write a book, write for 15 days, 15 minutes every day. Even if you want to speak, practice for 15 minutes every day. Don't think that, okay, I will do it in this Sunday and then I will do it next Sunday. That is not momentum. Momentum is like if you have gone to in many places in US, I've seen in Chicago and in Atlanta, there's a big wheel, giant wheel where people sit and enjoy the ride. That wheel, when it starts, it takes a lot of effort. But after some time, the guy is not putting effort because it has gained momentum. Similarly, whenever you do something, you will have to put a lot of effort in the beginning. But don't stop. If you stop, you will reach again at the first place. So keep putting that effort, and one day things will gain momentum, and then you will not even realize when you start growing. You have an exponential growth in the process. So momentum is the second thing I would like to say. Keep doing.
Well, we're all about the end of our episode here, but you have just been so inspirational, and the information you've given us is so wonderful. And I so appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to visit with us tonight on the Indie Beacon Show. Again, I have the pleasure of speaking to Deepak Sharma. You can find him at his website. Let's give him the phone number one more time. The phone number? Is there a phone number they can reach you at?
Yes, 346-203-6986.
Okay. Also, if you ever miss that, you can certainly go on to authorsmarketinginternationalwebsite.com. He is a member of our group, and the information for him will be there. Again, my name is Marianne Fairmouth. I'm the host on this episode, and this is Authors Marketing International, the Indie Beacon Show, and we're so happy that you joined us tonight. Keep in touch. Look forward to our other episodes, and keep writing and keep that momentum going. Like Deepak said, thank you so much.
Thank you, Marianne.
Thank you for watching or listening to the Indie Beacon Show, produced by Biala Bourgeois for the Authors Marketing International LLC. Copyright 2021. Voiceover by Biala Bourgeois. If you would like to be a sponsor of the show, please email us at authorsmarketing@outlook.com. If you would like to be on the show, please complete the form found on our website at indiebeacon.com. You may also watch previous year's shows on the website. Music is Frolic of Words, created for Indie Beacon